Fall in. Dress right dress, cover down. 4 and 40 all around. It's time for the Abington Veterans Muster. I'm your host, Travis Partington, Marine Corps veteran and Abington resident. It is great to be with you today. And I'm going to start with, you better be in formation as I pass the word. And Adam has been busy, Lisa's been busy, the council's been busy, and I've got a lot to get through, so don't move. It is with great pride that I announced the Abington Hero Banner Program. What a lot of work went into making this all happen. And this is for you if you serve in the military and you live in Abington. You can apply to be part of this program. Applications are open now. You can apply online at the Abington Town website in the Veterans section or in person at the Veterans Service Office. You need a DD-214, preferably a high-res uniform photo. I've got some, but not high-res, maybe, I don't know. And a proof of Abington connection. You serve from Abington, you joined from Abington, you live in Abington, you lived in Abington, you have a connection to Abington. Maybe a picture in Martin's might do it for you. I don't know, ask Fred, we'll see. The cost, and there is a cost, it's $300 per banner. $150 with income verification for those who qualify. And you can pay an optional $50 for a keepsake banner. So you can take a banner home with you, put it in your garage, man cave. I would have it centered above my bed. That's just me. And anywhere you want, maybe give it to your kids. I think it's pretty cool. 76 banners will be displayed over 2 years. Now I know what you're thinking. Can I pick the place where I want my banner, or does Travis get to decide that? I have nothing to do with banner placement. Neither do you. The Abington DPW has an algorithm set up to plan to look at where to put these banners in Abington. They're the ones doing it, but just think that your hero, the local hero, is going to be featured in Abington somewhere. What a fantastic honor, and it's just one way that we want to make sure Abington heroes are honored and are seen. Moving on, and literally moving on, I have an update about the Abington Veterans Transportation Vehicle. Now, why is this important? We have a vehicle right now, and you're like, well, it's a pretty good looking vehicle, but it's also a vehicle that's almost impossible to get parts for. Only 6,000 were made, and this one is 14 years old, and it's old. And it needed something new, because if it breaks down, we have no way to serve veterans. So Adam got together and talked to people in Abington, and thanks to South Shore VOTEC, the Abington Rotary, and Sunoco, we are raising money, $80,000 to be exact, for a new transportation vehicle. This vehicle is going to be wheelchair accessible. For those who are in their wheelchairs, they can roll right into the van and go to their appointment. We're going to have a wrap, thanks to South Shore VOTEC, that honors killed in action and Gold Star families. You'll have a QR code in the vehicle, so if you're at the parade or in Trukey's or Stop and Shop or Target, if you see the vehicle, you can walk up with your phone and scan the QR code and go to a section that will show memorial stories of people who served in Abington. Sunoco, Abington Sunoco, you all see it up there, has said they will maintain this vehicle at no cost to make sure veterans get to their appointments. So this is just a fantastic story of the town of Abington once again coming together to serve their veterans. And why is this vehicle important? Why? Why is it important? Some veterans, can't get to their appointments, or, and I've experienced this personally, if you can't drive and can't get to your appointment, it causes problems, because the VA is like, well, you know what? You missed 3-4 appointments in a row. Obviously, you're not hurt that bad. We're going to move on. And it wasn't the case. I literally couldn't drive. And it was a point of stress for me, just like other veterans who are trying to get to their appointments. And this vehicle is going to allow them to maintain a healthy lifestyle, get the care they need safely and securely. So your support is going to be needed. We're going to have the link to the donation website in the AVM show post. You can click right on there. Donations are already coming in, but be a part of history, be a part of this project, and let's take care of our veterans. Thank you. And there's more. There's always more, and I'm a more is more kind of guy. I am really proud and honored to talk about the Purple Heart Day ceremony and street sign topper project. The ceremony is Sunday, August 7th at 1 p.m. at the American Legion. And the topper project is, there are 36 commemorative signs being installed around town. And these are service members who got a Purple Heart during their service. And we wanted a way to make sure that people saw that freedom comes at a cost, and that cost can carry for the rest of your life, right? And so it honors Purple Heart veterans, deceased Purple Heart recipients. A lot of work and man hours went into collecting the list, making sure the narrative was right, understanding who was in, who was out, and learning the history and the story behind these amazing people. So again, this is going to be August 7th at the American Legion, and then the topper project will start, and you'll start seeing those signs around Abington. Closing out, September 7th, right after Labor Day, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Abington Knights of Columbus, we're going to have Abington Veterans Family Day. And Adam's vision was to do something that brought the entire family together. If you serve in the military with your family, or if you have family as a veteran, sometimes the family is along for the ride, and many times, if not all of the times, the family didn't get a choice. They're just, hey kids, we're packing up and going to Okinawa for a year, and that's just what you have to do. So there's a cost there. There's a unique veterans experience that Adam wanted to share with people who are veterans. So it's going to be at the Knights of Columbus, and again, this is family friendly, with free raffles, bouncy houses, games, and ice cream. Could I fit in a bouncy house? How would that work? We're hoping that the police and fire will show up with a truck or a police car. For me, a motorcycle. I always wanted to be a motorcycle cop and never got the chance. Anyway, but one thing I can get into is the free food. Yes, we're going to have free food there. So again, it's a nice casual event. You show up, you get some face painting done, you get in the bouncy house. I might get in the bouncy house. I don't know, we'll see. But I think it's events like these that bring veterans and their families together that are going to have a real lasting impact, because again, yes, the veterans out there serving or have served, right? But the family, again, is the people he comes home to at night, or she has to see and write letters to when she's deployed. We want to remember them. So again, there's all kinds of good stuff going on in Abington right up through the end of the year. There's more coming. You want to stay right here. So again, thank you for watching. And as we say right now, wait for our next guest. I love getting to talk to people who grew up in Abington, went to the military, came back to Massachusetts, are in the community, recognizable in the community, and present. And my next guest certainly embodies all that and more. I would need, I think, anywhere from 6 to 10 shows to encompass everything he has done that we can see, but we're just going to try to get the best sliver of it. I want to introduce to you Army veteran, police officer, and just awesome veteran extraordinaire, Kurt Power. Welcome to Abington Veterans Muster.
Listen, it's such an honor to be here, and I couldn't appreciate more everything you do. You and Adam are doing a fantastic job out here.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, we've met on and off through different veterans events, and first of all, you're hard to miss. So, you know, that there's that, but also there's just like, I want to tell you first off, there's like this, you almost have like this boyish energy just feeding off of you. Like you're just radiate like this energy, like you're full of life and you're just attacking it with everything you've got.
Well, I think a lot of us in the Purple Heart community really just look at the world differently. Where I said, you know, certainly a traumatic event, but such a positive outlook on the world that, like, I wake up every day ready for life and say, like, every day above ground is a good day.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in Abington? Because you're like Abington born and bred.
Like, amazing, right? Super patriotic town, like wonderful people. I said, you know, that nationalism and that really American pride, I said, was from such an early age, where I actually grew up on a street named after a Purple Heart recipient who was Private First Class Robert Clapp, who was actually a U.S. Army veteran killed in the Battle of Okinawa, right? So at a very early age, none of it was lost on us. How many people had served in the community and how many people had really given their life to the cause so we could live such a great existence in such a wonderful
even
town.
as a kid through the schools and everything, that was part of the experience.
100%. And I think that's why so many of us really stepped up to serve our country, because of the upbringing we had here and the perspective on how amazing this country is, and really grateful for the opportunity to give back in any capacity.
So you went to, Martin's, you went to all those places.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Like Martin's, incredible, love it. It's just such a good, really town full of wonderful people, and I couldn't be more grateful to have had the opportunity to grow up here.
Lighthearted question. I'm not from around here, as you can probably tell. Tell me in your own words, what does it mean to be part of the Green Wave?
Oh.
What is that?
Yeah, no, so that's it. All of us grew up, playing sports and that Green Wave mentality. You'll never see more diehard fans everywhere, and I think a lot of that really helped prep me for the military world, right? Like, your great coaches, your, Coach Kelleher, Coach Riley, the Byrne brothers, Coach Graham, and really at such a young age, giving us that structure, really getting us physically fit, and really keeping us accountable. And I feel that being a Green Wave made the transition to the military world so much smoother than other people that really didn't have that same upbringing, and really couldn't be more grateful to be part of that community, but to be part of that community before joining the military community. I think it really gave me a big leg up.
So you knew how to be part of a brotherhood and part of something bigger than yourself when you went into the military.
100%.
Yeah.
Do your job. Do your job, be accountable, support each other. And I think really being a part of a team my entire life really helped put in perspective what it was like to be part of a team overseas.
What prompted you to join the military out of Abington?
Honestly, it was 9/11.
9/11.
I think a lot of us felt, our country was attacked and we had to step up and answer the call. And I'm so grateful that I did, and I've never regretted that decision.
Ever?
Ever.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I've talked to Marines that, I wasn't in that conflict, but Marines who did serve in that conflict, and some of them, and some of the Army guys I met too, you're like, were we really effective over there? Was that really worth it? And I can't answer that question. I didn't serve over there, but I have met other people like yourself who are like, what? I know that I went over there and did my job the best that I could, and I made a difference.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't do it any differently.
Yeah.
And I've explained to a lot of veterans doing a lot of peer support work over the years, like, don't get too wrapped around the axle on the political side of things, right? I always say, like, listen, we went to fight terrorism, we fought for each other. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? Our country was attacked, stepping up, answering the call, so people back home here are safer. Anything beyond that, it's a wonderful country where everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I'm very open to conversation, but I don't overthink it beyond that.
So, one of the things that I learned about you very first and foremost is that you are a Purple Heart veteran. And how did that, besides the obvious, change your life? Because again, the first thing I noticed about you is you have this like zest, this thirst to empty the tank on life every day. And I'm like, where does he get his energy from? But it seems to come from somewhere really deep inside you. Did the Purple Heart situation really change you that much?
I think so. I've always been a pretty happy guy. I've always been a pretty adventurous guy. But I think I'm grateful for the fact it transpired, to be honest, because I've never taken another day in my life for granted. And I always say, hey, when I eventually meet the guys we lost overseas someday, when this is all over, I'd like to think that I could tell them I didn't sit around for the next 40 years. I think that it's important to really appreciate life, and every day above ground's a good day, but I also think it's out of respect for their service and sacrifice to go and do the things that maybe they did not have the opportunity to do, because the real heroes are the warriors that didn't make it home. And every day I wake up and I think of that, and I think that certainly fuels the fire to keep moving and kind of just really live a good existence and really just do as much as I can and experience life as much as possible.
Well, you do that through service, and you serve your community through being a police officer, amongst other things. How did the transition from the military to being a police officer work for you?
So the transition to the police world was great. I actually joined the transit police about 17 years ago, and I've been in the Boston Police Gang Unit for like the last 9.5. And I said, it's been wonderful, because I said, it's a paramilitary organization. My partner in the gang unit actually fought in Ramadi at the same time. And
Hey, wait a minute. I think I know somebody else in the Boston Gang Unit.
Paul Sheehan.
Well, I mean, is that his name?
It is, yeah. Everyone's favorite Marine.
I think it's a small world.
Yeah. No.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah, so Paul was over fighting in the Battle of Ramadi at the same time. We didn't know each other. He was Marines, I was Army, and we ended up in the same cruiser together, stateside. And I think, that both of us are so lucky to really have such a similar perspective. And, but also I said, that experience that we know if things do go sideways out there, that we'll be able to handle it, and we're grateful for that.
Well, thinking about it, I mean, you're both in the cruiser, and you kind of always, I mean, I don't know about law enforcement, but even the military, I'm like, is person next to me solid? Because I don't know them that well. But because you had those same experiences doing what you all did, it had to be like, I know Paul has my 6.
100%, right? It's an instantaneously click, where you say, like I said, not only having very similar experiences and perspective, but actually saying like, okay, I know if you were over and in it at that point in time, you're good.
It's just blowing me away right now how small the world actually is, as big a guys as we actually are, Kurt.
No, but you know what? It's like, and that's the wonderful thing about it, right? Is like that veteran community, like, just being one big family. And like I said, like, hey, we didn't meet prior to the war, but really, clicking and making that veteran connection and really bringing it to the police world, which I think is just really fantastic to know.
Yeah.
That so many of us can bring the military side of things to the police world to continue to serve our communities.
So speaking of service, you serve in the police, you serve for a long time, but you do so much outside of law enforcement. And I'm going through my list. I'm like, we could spend 10 hours just scratching the service. So help me out here. What's the most passionate thing you're about right now in your service to veterans in the community?
Okay, so I've been grateful for a lot of opportunities, but truly the most important thing that I do, I'd say, is more behind the scenes than anything, and it's
really?
And it's the peer support side of things, right? That I've put hundreds of veterans in treatment at this point. And I think that if some veteran is going to go over and fight for our country, the least we can do is make sure that they don't take their life on American soil.
So let me ask you this. Kind of tell people out there who aren't familiar with the veteran experience, what's it like for that veteran to be at that point where they're like, you know what, if I don't raise my hand for help, I don't know what's going to happen, and they reach out to you. What's going through their mind, Kurt?
I think, just desperation and heartbreak. I think it's complex. Coming from a typically very macho environment, no one ever wants to reach out for help. And I think it's okay not to be okay. And, I certainly got help coming home, and I said, I'm a happy guy. I'm living proof that, not only can you go over and be in heavy combat, but then make the transition back to the civilian world. And also I'll talk to these veterans in crisis. And I'll say, hey, listen, I know you're having a hard time and anxiety and nightmares. And they said, like, how do you know? I go, because it's all of us. It's all part of the process. It's all just tactical mileage.
But you've actually walked your talk.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, you had to.
You know, I always say, like, I'll always tell my story to them first. And then they're more comfortable about talking about their experiences and their feelings. And I think that's really the important thing, is getting veterans open to not only reaching out for help, but having very real conversations. Because I said, like, hey, you know, the brotherhood didn't end at the war. Like, we're in it till the wheels fall off. So I've said, you know, to veterans I served with before, I said, you know, you would have died for me overseas, but you can't pick up the phone and tell me you're having a bad day. And when you put it that way, they get it. You say, you know what, that's a good call. You're right, I'm struggling. And you say, well, then let's get through this together. We can talk it out. You need me to come out to the house, anything I can do. And I think so many veterans out there struggling think they're the only one going through it, because no one wants to have those conversations. So I think it's important for us that have been through it to really kind of serve that up and say, yeah, no, hey, listen, I went through this. I'm better off for it. And if I can make it, I always say anyone can.
What's it like then when you've helped a veteran out? And I know sometimes you help people out and they go about their way and you never see them again. You know, I both experienced that. But what's it like when the one comes back and says, you know what, hey, Kurt, you know, a year later, you know, I went from being all messed up to I'm loving life. What's that do for you?
It's so powerful, and I'll actually try not to get emotional here. But it's just, it's so important. It's just the way it should be. But I had a veteran a couple years ago, you know, say, you know, on Father's Day, hey, I'm spending the day with my kids instead of them honoring my memory today.
Wow.
And that's because of you. And it's, like I said, it's just the right thing to do. I'm grateful for the opportunity to help in any capacity. But I think I find more gratification out of really changing a veteran's life for the better than anything else I can think of in the civilian world, for sure.
What do you think is next for veterans advocacy? And the reason I'm asking that is more and more I read that they're finding out one of the psychological root causes of PTSD, or not so much PTSD, but, you know, suicidal ideation, is isolation, loneliness, and how to fix that. And they're trying to find ways just to get the people to actually talk to each other. But what do you think is next, Kurt?
I think a huge step in the right direction is what you guys are all doing out here, is creating more veteran events, getting people linked up with other veterans in the community, right? Opening those lines of dialogue, but also creating that support structure as a result. Because I think what we typically find is you have a strong support structure when you're in the military itself. But when the wheels fall off, when it really hits home, when you really come to the realization these things did happen, these guys didn't make it, we did go through this. More often than not, veterans are out. They're out, they're not in the barracks anymore. And then they have a tendency to isolate because they don't feel like they necessarily belong in the civilian world having the same perspective of everyone else. You know, it's no one can understand me. They haven't been through what I've been through. So I think by reconnecting veterans, maybe not people that they served with, but other fellow veterans in their community like you guys are doing, I think is not only so powerful, but I think it saves lives.
Let me bounce something off you then. I'm still playing video games, you know, and some people roll their eyes, but I'm like, you know what? You know, I've been on COD or Borderlands or Gears of War, and I've connected with Marine Corps buddies I've served with, and yeah, we're all like older dudes, you know, just talking plainly here. But I've noticed that, you know, we'll get on a COD match, Call of Duty, and during matches in the lobby, oh, hey man, your work sucked today. Well, really, why? Well, because the boss did this, or you know what, my kid, you know, got hurt, and I'm really worried about him. And it's really weird. In the lobby times is where real conversation happens. And I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I talk to anybody else like this outside of video games.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know if you play or not, or maybe you don't, but I'm bringing it up because more and more it's a way for us to bond easily and cheaply and be real with each other.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that's such a great point. I also think it very much speaks to the volume of telehealth nowadays, though, too.
Okay.
Where veterans can go through therapy in the comfort of their own home. I think there's a lot to do with that on the video game side of things, right? That some veteran might be a little more open to talking about having a tough time or whatever in the comfort of their own home in an environment that, you know, they can kind of let their guard down a little bit. Well, it's the same. I always want to let veterans know, like, maybe you don't want to go to a doctor's office, and that's uncomfortable for anyone. But more often than not nowadays, you can talk to a therapist right in the privacy of your own home, on your own couch, and really kind of just work through the problems you're dealing with. I think the more comfortable we can make veterans just talking and sharing their feelings in general, I think the better off we'll all be, and I think it's so important. All
right, scenario 2. We got techno with the video games, but I want to talk about breakfast. Now, Adam has done this thing with Fred Villa and Martin's in Abington where they do the free veterans breakfast, and it works. I mean, we had people come from the Cape for free breakfast. And now, Kurt, you have been around the veteran advocacy block more than a lot of people. And people spend a ton of money, time, effort getting their event publicized, and maybe 100 veterans will show up. Is it really something as simple as a free breakfast with, you know, scrambled eggs, sausages, biscuits, gravy, the whole 9 yards, and then you have the VSO orgs there to say, hey, you know, if you're interested in, did you know you can get free glasses today? Well, no, I didn't know that. Well, come sign up and then go eat breakfast. I'm just thinking with how successful that's been, not just here in Abington, but in other places, we got to go simple to get more people together. I'm just curious what you think about that.
Agreed. I think that you're not going to have those same conversations in some of these more formal structured events. They're great to show the support for the troops for sure, but like those real organic conversations happen in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
And I love what you guys are doing as far as, I think a lot of times the VSO side of things has been more of a reactive, I'll go into the office, I will talk to the VSO, which a lot of veterans are reluctant to do, where you take a far more proactive approach out here on actually becoming more of a part of the community and meeting them, you know, in a forum that they're comfortable with. So I think like you're going to have those real organic conversations over breakfast, a casual conversation, bonding, and in those moments you say, oh no, I didn't know that. Oh, that's great. I can get glasses. Oh, you know, hey, no, now I know you and I know Adam. You know, I might need help with an appeal or really finding out what my benefits are. Now that you've built that familiar rapport, they're going to be entirely more likely to then come in and talk to you. So I think it's a brilliant idea, and I think it's very disarming too. Where like I think you're going to have a lot of veterans that will come out for veterans breakfast versus some of these other things, and once again reconnect with other veterans in the area, which I find to be super helpful.
Okay, winding this down, and we just scratched the surface, but you joined Abington. You joined the military from Abington. What's it like coming back and seeing where Abington is now with veterans advocacy and support for the military versus when you grew up and left? Is it the same or is it just different but better?
Oh, honestly, yeah, it's always been a very patriotic town, but I think right now we're at the pinnacle. I think the things that you all are doing are better than it's ever been, right? That it's been constantly trending in just a more and more positive direction over the years. And I'm so proud and grateful to see it that, you know, I can't imagine how much smoother and easier it's going to be for future generations returning home.
Nice.
And no, like I said, I'm just really proud of everything you guys are doing and really grateful for it, for sure.
So, you know, we have the term Oscar Mike, you know, on the move, we're on the mission, we're go, go, go. And you have that, your battery is full every day. What is next for Kurt? Where are you going to be next? Because one day I'm sitting there and you're like in Mount Kilimanjaro for one day, and then you're at the bottom of the ocean the other day. Where are you going to be next on the map of the earth, man? What's going on?
No, it's great. Well, I'll say like, the big thing is I always say like in doing some of these more extreme things like Kilimanjaro or or rock climbing Devil's Tower, where I always say, you know, I want to show to these veterans that are struggling, anything is possible if you just accept that failure isn't an option. So, you know, I'm going to keep moving and grooving until the wheels fall off. But the big one for me that I'm really excited about actually is I'm getting married in Oahu in September. So that is the biggest adventure for sure, you know. But, you know, me and my fiance Kristen, we couldn't be happier. Really looking forward to it, and you know, very grateful to find such an amazing woman.
So you got someone to bring along to all these adventures and stuff?
You know what? And I said, like, clicked instantaneously. We were on our second date, and won't get too far into it, but she was telling me, like, I really want to go to Antarctica someday. And I thought to myself, I've been waiting for a woman to say this to me my entire life. And I said, it's been smooth.
So it was true love right then.
It was. We both saw stars, man, and couldn't be any happier. You know, that, yeah, she's very much on the adventure side of things as well. And, you know, just, you know, my life is certainly better with her in it. And we both really just want to live life and experience as much as possible, and are so grateful to be born in such an amazing country.
Fantastic, fantastic. Kurt, I want to thank you for coming on, spend the time with me, and just really opening our eyes to different possibilities and different ways of looking at life despite life's challenges and your Purple Heart. So thank you very much, brother.
Well, Travis, I couldn't be more grateful for you, and I'd like to give you, if you wouldn't mind, one of my Purple Heart Challenge coins. I couldn't be more proud of your service and everything you're doing for the country and for the town. And you know, you're an amazing man, and I'm truly honored to call you a friend.
Well, Kurt, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, wow, man, this is awesome. Look at that. I wonder if that helmet would fit me. What an honor, Kurt. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, folks, there you go. Another Abington resident who joined the military, served honorably, came back, is serving the community in many different ways. And if you go to his Facebook page or see him on Instagram or just see him out in town, know that he is going fast all the time. So he's hard to keep up with. But Kurt, again, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here, and thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you, Travis. I appreciate you, my brother.
Again, this is Travis with the Abington Adventures Muster. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next month. And I'm going to say now, you are dismissed.